I start with reading a piece by Jeffrey A. Tucker called The Bloodless Political Class and Its Lack of Empathy. This was published on July 27th in the American Institute for Economic Research. Why watch COVID press conferences and briefings by politicians? They're just upsetting. These people seem to have no clue about why the virus is ignoring them. They keep issuing strange and arbitrary rules that they make up, changed by the day, all enforced by intimidation and compulsion. They posture in the silly way as if their edicts have the virus under control, whereas they clearly do not. Even worse, and what chills me to the bone, is the strange absence of normal human emotion in their public performances. With day to day human communication in the presence of uncertainty, there would be some admission of the possibility of being wrong, of mistakes made, of the difficulty of knowing, of the limits of information to make informed decisions, of the pain wrought through such disruptive governance. You don't see any of this in these governors' announcements. Despite all evidence, they act as if they have got this under control. They don't admit error. They don't admit ignorance. They stare straight in the cameras and issue edicts without even an apology of all the lives they've ruined and continue to ruin. They talk down to us, condescension in every word. We don't talk this way to each other. Instead, we share stories of how our lives have been affected. We share pain with each other and frustration at how destabilized we feel, how we have been separated from family, how lockdowns have led us to dark places, how caged we feel. We worry about our finances, our loved ones, our very futures. We are astonished at how quickly and radically our freedoms have been taken away. And in sharing these stories with each other, we come to understand more and feel a bit of healing perhaps. In short, we have empathy. The politicians, on the other hand, show none. They have glassy eyes that reflect cold blood. Even worse, they come across as bloodless, like generals who order troops around, knowing with certainty that many people will die. They rarely, if ever, talk about what they are doing in human terms. They talk about data, restrictions, trends in infections and hospitalizations and death, but not as if any of this involves real humans or trade offs. They preen with certainty that is not really believable. Adam Smith explained empathy as a feature of the human personality. If we have no immediate experience of what other men feel, he wrote, we can form no idea of the manner in which they are affected. But by conceiving what we ourselves should feel like in the situation, by the imagination we place ourselves in the situation, we conceive ourselves enduring all the same torments, and become in some measure the same person with him. That's what real life is like. But political life today seems to seek to banish that every human feeling. It's as if they are playing a video game featuring all of us, but we are mere figures on a screen programmed to do what they want. They have no obligation to understand us, no less worry about the pain they inflict, because, like figures on a gaming screen, we surely don't feel pain at all. And that is also how the media has come to talk of this calamity. Its numbers, charts, trends, all highly alarmist and always with the same conclusion. The political class needs to impose more restrictions on us to make this virus go away. We sit helpless, watching all of this unfold day after day, astonished that our rules could be so impervious to what has taken place before our eyes. The emotional gap between the rulers and ruled has never been wider in modern times. It seems completely unsustainable. It's like they aren't even trying to connect with people. Politicians are no great shakes in normal times, but they seem worse than ever now, throwing out law, tradition, morality, and even the appearance of caring about how the lockdowns have destroyed so many lives. The article is very much worth continuing, but I stop here and instead wanted to talk about some recent examples. Let's look at Jens Spahn, former bank clerk, apprentice, farmer lobbyist, and now German health minister. He was booed recently by residents when he supported a local election campaign. He makes a very arrogant, derogatory, almost sexist emblem with his hands to tell people to shut up, to stop chattering away. Shame. You asshole. Shame on you. And here something remarkable happens. He just takes his mask off, symbolically and literally. Here he shows that the mask was just a facade, a disguise. And now he shows his true self. He doesn't believe in the mask either. Now he doesn't care. He takes the disguise off in anger and leaves. He doesn't even know how to put on the mask. Now it's upside down. What an idiot. What an idiot. Something similar happened when Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the president of Germany, thought he's not on camera anymore. And here we see what the German politicians think themselves of the face masks and the pandemic.
Das darf ich vielleicht noch sagen, auch ans Team von Stefan Dreger, an uns. Das ist natürlich für uns auch eine tolle Sache, dass
Here, the president
unseren Beitrag dazu
inspects a hospital.
hier möglicherweise leben zu retten.
Ja, großen Respekt auch von mir. Nehmen Sie das auch bitte den Kolleginnen und
Great
Kollegen.
respect.
Das mache ich sehr gerne. Danke.
Ja.
And now he thinks the cameras are off. He hands a dirty mask to his assistant. And that's it. Here we look at Professor Neil Ferguson from Imperial College, who advised the government to lock down the country.
Potentially increases in transmission. I should say it's not clear that it automatically will controls lead to potentially increases in transmission. I should say it's not clear that it automatically will do
He
so.
is so bloody arrogant, he doesn't even open his eyes.
Most of the modelling would suggest we might get a small increase, but it's very unclear whether that will lead to the reproduction number being above. Infection rules to stay adjusted.
He has his eyes closed. He doesn't want to see. He doesn't want to face things. Eyes are the window to the soul, and either he wants to hide that he doesn't have a soul, or he just doesn't want people to see what it looks like. Pure arrogance. Here we look at the British Finance Minister, Rishi Sunak.
The impact of coronavirus on the economy and public finances. It is important to be clear that the OBR's numbers are not a forecast or a prediction. They simply set out what one possible scenario might look like, and it may not even be the most likely scenario. But it's important that we are honest with people about what might be happening in our economy. So before I turn to today's health figures, I want to spend a few minutes explaining what the OBR have said, and let me thank them for their continued work. There are 3 brief points I wanted to make. First, the OBR's figures suggest that the scale of what we are facing will have serious implications for our economy here at home, in common with other countries around the world. These are tough times, and there will be more to come. As I've said before, we can't protect every business and every household.
All lies. Whatever he says, all freaking lies. He looks like a 20-year-old in the body of a 40-plus-year-old. What that means is there are no subtle facial expressions. There's no character. There's no life experience. He was a hedge fund manager before he became finance minister. He's reading stuff off like it is flashcards someone else gave him. How do I know this? Because he says the same thing again and again.
OBR is independent of government, and as they've said, this is just one potential scenario. But I'd make 3 points. I think firstly, look, it's clear this will have a very significant impact on our economy, and like common with economies around the world. And it's important that we're honest about that. People should know that there's hardship ahead. We won't be able to protect every job or every business, as I've said. I think the second point is clear. The report makes clear that the actions we've taken, unprecedented actions, will help to mitigate the impact impact of the virus on our economy, and that will, if we hadn't done these things, it would mean that things are a lot worse. For example, the impact on unemployment, because it's clear we must defeat this virus as quickly as possible. That's not a choice between health and economics. That defies common sense. What we need is just to follow the rules, and I'm grateful to everyone for doing that.
What arrogance. He's saying exactly the same things as before. Like he memorized it, like someone gave him flashcards. Lies and lies and lies. The virus was just a facade. They caused the lockdown. They destroyed the economy. What bullshit. Let's have a quick look at Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, and former Secretary of Propaganda and Agitation in former East Germany. I remember when I was a child, I got goosebumps when I heard the German national anthem. For instance, when the national football team played in a world championship. It reflected so much pride and sacredness. Unity and justice and freedom for the German fatherland. Sounds so much better when it's in German. When you betray the oath and your people, when there's so much discrepancy and dissonance between your words, what you pretend to be, and your behavior, what you actually do, it shows. When the body language and the words, the anthem you quietly sing, don't match, your betrayal, your deception becomes apparent. It couldn't be more symbolic. Shame on this government. The arrogance, the lack of empathy is so apparent. The gap between the people and the governments is so wide that there's no turning back anymore by these governments. If they would stop lockdowns and there would be elections again, there would be investigations and they would get locked up. So they can't do that. There won't be any more elections and there will likely be genocide. We have to stop them.